This is Office Hours, where the brightest entrepreneurial minds in business, sports, and entertainment get together to talk about success, failure, and everything in between. Take a deep dive into the mindset it takes to excel as our unbelievable hosts and guests share with you the strategies and tools they've used to dominate their respective fields. On this episode of Office Hours, Danica Patrick, Jimmy Mistry, Sadhguru, Zach Wiener, and Rory Kutaya.
How do you decide what it is you're going to be passionate about?
Well, I don't think I decide. I think that's the point. I think you find it.
Literally anyone could be their own QVC or home shopping network.
What's your mindset when you're building a company?
If you do not invent misery, you will be happy.
I love that.
He's approaching business as a spiritual discipline.
David Meltzer hosts Office Hours. Our first guest is Danica Patrick, former professional race car driver, author, model, and co-founder of Danica Rosé.
Danica, welcome to Office Hours. Thank you so much for your time. I'm so excited to talk to you. You know, a lot of people don't realize that being a professional driver, being literally one of the world's greatest drivers of all time, that it's a team sport. And, you know, even myself being in the sports industry for years, I've always felt that the industry, whether it's Indy, NASCAR, Formula, that these are individual athletes. And what I learned is that it's probably one of the greatest team sports that exists, that, you know, although being a driver, you're not by yourself. And I think you've been able to, with Danica Rosé, carry that team philosophy and the lessons that you learned from being a team leader over into your business, and that's why you have the success that you're having. How important was the team when you were driving, and how have you utilized those capabilities as a team leader with the Danica Rosé company?
Yeah, thanks for having me, David. You're right. And if I may say, I think that greatness in any company or in any business or any endeavor, I mean, rarely is done alone. I think they all incorporate a lot of team atmosphere, but you know, it's really about, like you said, the lessons that I learned. And so whether it's Danica Rosé or Somnium or my podcast or any other thing that I take on, the team is really important. And, you know, I think that to be more elaborate or even specific about like what it is about the team is that in racing, I felt like there was always such a difference between somebody doing their job and doing a great job. And there's a lot of people that can do their job, but it doesn't really like move the needle. And so doing a great job is what is required of everybody. And the way that you end up getting people to want to do a great job is that they invest into you, is that they care about you. They care about you beyond the 9 to 5 and the paycheck. They care about you to the point where they don't look at hours on a clock. They just want to see it through, and they really don't want to let you down. And I think that those are some of the qualities within that really help push things to the next level.
Danica, we appreciate your time. I'm super excited to see an athlete become an entrepreneur. And I can hear your passion and what you're doing and the passion for your team and the culture that you're creating. Talk to the viewers out there about when you decide to divert to a different career path or pivot and change. How important is it to have that passion, that love and desire? So it's not a job, because the people working for you, they're not looking at the clock, they're excited. How do you create that? Because they follow their leader. How do you decide what it is you're going to be passionate about?
Well, I don't think I decide. I think that's the point. I think you find it. And you have to take chances, you have to try things, and you really have to get to know yourself. And that's not as easy as it sounds. Like, who are you? Like, I'm not Danica. I'm not the name I was given. I'm how I feel. I'm like what I enjoy, what lights me up, what makes me happy, what interests me, what energizes me. I really feel that your energetic response to an environment is a really good indication as to whether or not that's for you or not. You have to do things that I've learned over time really bring my energy up and give it to me versus drain it. I can do something for hours, like for instance, my podcast. I can do that for hours and by the end of it, you'd think I'd be exhausted, because it's really harder to ask questions than it is to be asked questions, because you have to continuously think and be kind of navigating the conversation. But I can end those days feeling like I'm on a high. It's easy to see what it is that is for you and isn't for you when you follow the energy. And the same can be said, of course, for my wine brands, for Danica Rosé and Somnium. People always ask me why I got involved in wine, and my answer is simple and silly, and it's that I like to drink it.
So do we. You should come over and visit us.
Exactly. I wish we had some right now.
Yes, Rosé.
Danica, yeah, exactly. Rosé all day. Danica, you're such an inspiration. It is so great to have you here. What advice would you give to other women out there that are looking to make big changes, life-changing leaps? That's really hard. Like, there's a lot of great individuals out there that have great ideas, but you've actually taken those leaps successfully. So someone that's sitting here watching you right now, what would you tell them that has an idea and they want to create something? Sure. How would you, what advice would you give them?
It's about trust falling into the universe. It's about following those things that are really bring you enjoyment, and just trusting that if you do a great job, that it will pay you back. Because everything's just an energy exchange. Money's just energy. All the things that we do, everything is just made from energy. And so I believe if you find something that you love and you put a lot into it, it'll give a lot back to you. But something practical, nothing has to be done so very suddenly that it scares the living daylights out of you. There are things that are going to happen along the way, I think, in business that do, but you don't have to consciously take those leaps. You can start small. Like, side hustles are real. You don't have to just abandon ship, and especially if you have responsibilities, I don't think that you have to jump far and fast right away. Ultimately, the most important element of anything that you do or anything that you think is that you believe it. And so the way that you feel, like when you believe something with your whole heart, there's nothing stopping that. In fact, I really don't think there is. I think it's just purely a matter of time. For instance, I'm 5'1", nothing. I believe that if I believed enough that I could dunk a basketball, I could, but there's no way I believe that at all. So, belief is a really, really powerful thing. And these constructs in this third dimensional reality really give us a lot of chains, but belief is beyond all of that.
I love where you're coming from with this. Yeah, I've got a notion that I play with a lot in my life. It's already happened, I just haven't arrived. And as an entrepreneur, that is an energetic state. And it's not I'm committed to something, it is I am a commitment. And that statement of beingness, if I look at leadership as the activity of co-creating coordinated movement, which is something in the racing field, that's exactly what you're doing. How do you take this notion of it's already happened, I just haven't arrived, and translate that into a meaningful conversation with other people that you're actually counting on to work with you to co-create that coordinated movement?
That's a good question. We're skipping past. Yeah, I love that. You're skipping past it being about the one person wanting to create something or do something, and you're asking about the collective. And so, because with the one person, I truly believe in that when you want something so badly, there's an equal and opposite energy of being afraid you won't get it, which means the universe is confused and it doesn't do anything. And so you have to want something and let it go. I think there's also these small little veins of passion within a business that go beyond just the business itself. I use the example somebody might not be excited to sell microphones, but they might love the sale, right? Or they might love the organization, or they might love the team aspect. There might be something about it that they're truly passionate about. And I say that because with racing, it wasn't racing that I loved. It was setting a goal and achieving it. It was the progression. It was hoping and getting better over time. And so I think the same thing exists within a group, is finding everybody's individual niche of what it is that they're really good at, because it's what they enjoy, because usually what we enjoy is what we're good at or better.
One of the most interesting things, Danica, when I met you, is you're I really didn't love racing. And I'm thinking, here's someone from the time she could walk. She was in go-karts, and and it's like Agassi, when I talked to him, right? He didn't love tennis, but he forced himself to learn to love the aspects, because there's light, love, and lessons and everything, which you have evolved as well since the very first time at the IndyCar race. You almost ran me over and forgot about it, but I want to reach on that real quick, because I found it really intriguing that you named your podcast the Pretty Intense Podcast, because the Danica I met years and years ago was probably and I've been around some serious athletes, like Warren Moon's intense, but you were very intense. I thought your podcast would be the Very Intense Podcast. What is pretty intense to you? Because obviously there's a blend of persistence and patience now in your life that wasn't there when I first met you. Why pretty intense that you're trying to teach or convey?
Yeah, well, it has multiple meanings. It started out as a book. I wrote a health and wellness book that had food and workouts and mindfulness and really an entry into the mind. And that was the first section of the book, because I felt like when that's in line, it makes it so much easier to do the workouts and have the discipline, or not even the discipline, it's like the love for yourself to make the right choices that make you feel good when it comes to food. And so the mindfulness always started it. And it's just like the way that people would describe me. I thought when I was done with racing, I thought, maybe I'll have like a cooking show or something. I love to cook as well. Everything in my book I wrote and photographed myself. And so I'm like, man, I'll have a cooking show. And then I did a few little walk-on bits over the years. And I just ended up realizing that I just love to go deep. Like I'm not here to, I could, but I'm not here to talk about a cup of flour or a half a cup of sugar. I am like here to talk about quantum physics and the nature of reality and energy and what we're here for. Like that's the stuff I'm so passionate about. And so I have the nature of me is pretty intense about everything that I do.
That's why I love being with you. We share that, and I know the rest of the hosts as well. You're incredible beyond your driving skills for sure, and it's just a blessing to have you on Office Hours. Thank you so much. Enjoy the light, enjoy the fun.
Thank you.
We look forward to next time.
Thank you guys for the questions. Those were great questions, and thanks for having me on, and have a great day.